What is up, everybody? This is DJB. Welcome to Critic TV. This is episode number 1. Thank you to everybody who's been sending me emails over the past week or so. If you want to know what's going on here, just check out the website www.photocritictv.com. Click to submit button if you want me to have a look at your photographs, and I'll review them online, on camera, day by day, week by week, depending on when we do these episodes. You can check out my portfolio at www.djbworldphotography.com. And as some of you may know, I'm a wedding and travel photographer here in Melbourne. So this is it, guys. Number 1, let's get started. I've got the trusty iPad here, which is what I'm using to have a look at your photographs. So I'm just going to go through as many as I can in about 10 minutes. Hopefully I'll get to all you guys. And I'll start with the first one, Caroline Callahan. Thanks, Caroline. You sent me 3 photographs. I'll pick 2 of the 3. Caroline's shooting with a Sony A380, which is one of Sony's digital SLRs. And this photograph was taken in Varanasi, India. The first thing, Caroline, I'd say about this photograph is you've got some really nice light coming in there. There's a nice golden light, and there's nice colors. And I like the environment, these kind of thin laneways. What I'd say is the guys in the front of the photograph, they're quite distracting. What I would have done is probably moved in front of them, or just followed your subject for a little bit longer. The subject being this guy holding the golden pot. Followed him for a little bit longer, just so that he's the only one in the image, as opposed to these guys at the front. It also looks like you've got a family of tourists kind of just in front of this guy, which is a little bit distracting as well. So what I would have done is, follow this guy for a little bit longer, just so you can find him by himself in the environment, and I think this would have been a better image. So let's get to the next one. The next one, this is also by Caroline, again with the Sony A380. And this was taken in Hyderabad, India. And Caroline, I really like this image. I think it's very simple. The lighting is beautiful. You're lighting up the subject perfectly and pretty much nothing else in the scene. The only thing I would have done is actually stepped a little bit to your right, just so that you have a slightly different perspective on the whole image, so that the viewer is looking straight into the photograph and the little boy's on the right. But as I said, this is a really nice image, but maybe just change the perspective a little bit. And also the lines, the vertical lines and the horizontal lines, they aren't exactly straight. So I normally say, if you have some strong vertical lines in the image, try and keep them straight. And the same goes with the horizontal lines if you can. Let's have a look. Next one is from Craig Pettigrew. Craig's shooting with a Canon 500D using an 1855 lens, and he's named this image Twilight at the Pier. Let me just go to Aaron. Aaron, he's my flatmate here. He works in graphic design, so I'm just going to he's never seen this image before, so I'm going to get an off the bat opinion. Just give me one line off the bat. You ready for this?
Yep. That's actually really cool. love the colours, love lighting. I love that flare straight from the light.
Okay, nice. Just to repeat what Aaron's just said, he's saying the colours are nice, and he likes the kind of twinkling flare from the light. So, and I actually agree with him there, Craig. It's pretty hard to pick this image to pieces. So, not that I'm trying to do that, but yeah, you've got some really nice, some colour in the background, nice colourful sunset with the pink and orange light. The placement of the horizon is great on the bottom third line. It looks like you've probably put this on about a 15 to 25 second exposure, because you've got a bit of motion blur in the water there, which is nice. And it kind of looks like a nice silky sheet almost. The only thing I would say is, if anything, I would have stepped back a little bit, just so that you can see where the water's breaking on the sand. Maybe that will make the photograph more interesting. But apart from that, really nice one, Craig. Thanks for that. We've got one here from Wendy O'Brien. This is the next one. Come on. Here we go. This was actually taken with a camera phone, the Nokia N8, which is a 12 megapixel camera on it. This is quite, I like the scene here. What I'd say is, Wendy, the first thing is the banister, the rails that look like it's part of a viewing platform, I would have moved forward to frame them out of the image entirely. And I also would have moved the horizon line a little bit up a little bit more, so it's on the top third line, just so I can see a little bit more of the foreground. Because it looks like at the moment it's just above center, so it's slightly off center, but not off center enough to be on the third line, which is considered most pleasing to the eye. So straighten the horizon, move the horizon up, and frame out that viewing platform. Sujoy. Let's go to Sujoy's photograph. This was taken with a Nikon D7000. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so Sujoy's written here that he's used a few cameras, which doesn't really make sense. He says Nikon D7000, D3000, and he's used 2 lenses. I'm not quite sure what that means, Sujoy, but look, let's get to the photograph. I like this photograph, and I know this area well. This is Flinders Street Station, Melbourne. What I would have done here is actually moved in front of the park bench so that you can't actually see it. I think this park bench and that little kind of telephone pole or tram stop sign or whatever it is there on the left, that I find that a little bit distracting. If that weren't in the image, then this compositionally would be a lot better. The placement of the park bench is a little bit odd. It's not directly in the center, and it's kind of, it makes me feel uncomfortable about its placement. So I would take that out entirely, but a good photograph nonetheless, because this is quite a hard subject to photograph because there's so much going on there. There's all these tram lines and stuff going overhead, creating metal wires and telephone poles and people and traffic. So given that, I think you've captured this quite well. So, but definitely get rid of that park bench. Next one up, we got from David Pratt. Dave's gone on a few photography walks with me. I'll go to his first one. This was taken with the Sony A55V and the Tokina 11-16 f2.8 wide angle lens. This is a beautiful lens, I have one of those. The first photograph from Dave, this was taken on a photography walk. I really like this, Dave. Normally I'd say you've placed the horizon in the center of the photograph, but I think it actually works in this one. It doesn't look or feel too odd. I like the way you're using the footpath on the left there to lead the viewer's eye into the city. The only thing I'd say is probably maybe brighten up the foreground a little bit, just to show, just for a little bit more detail. And also the top right hand corner, there's like a little branch there, just crop that out somehow. You could have zoomed in or walked forward or whatever. But I like the kind of godlike rays that are coming out from the sunset. And I was actually there for this moment. I think that lasted for about 2 minutes, so you've done well to capture that. Let's go. I think I've got time for about 1 or 2 more. Let me quickly pick one. Eddie Peterson. Let's have a look, Eddie. This was shot with a Canon 5D Mark II and a Canon 24 to 70mm f2.8 lens. This is a professional setup you've got there, Eddie. Obviously the 5D Mark II is a full frame camera, and that lens you're using is a professional camera. I really like this photograph. It looks like a little bit of a kind of a sepia rustic tone you've got to it that adds to this kind of cafe scene. The only thing I'd say is you've included this guy, 2 people in this photograph. Well, I think really the guy on the right is your subject. The guy on the left, you see he's there, but I can't tell what he's doing. So I don't think he's really necessary. I don't think it's really necessary to put him in the photograph. So I would have just walked forward a bit or cropped him out and focused more on this guy on the right. But given that, I think it's really nice. I like the way he's kind of a little bit hidden in the shadows, and you can see the top of his shoulders and his head with the light that's somehow shining in there. Yeah, and I like the kind of silhouette-y images you've got there. So let me just do one more. I'm going to try and get to these as quick as I can. Satya, shooting with a Nikon D90 and the 50mm f1.8 lens. Satya, I like this. This is just a kind of a simple portrait shot. The first thing I'd say is the placement of the girl here is a little bit odd. I would have placed her more to the right and framed out some of that kind of wooden, whatever it is there. That's kind of taking away from the image. That's not really adding anything to it. And also the expression on her face is a little bit odd. I'm not sure what she's trying to do, but maybe think about the different expressions she could be showing in that image. But thanks for that. Last one, I think. Okay, now I'm going to do two more, just quickly. Carol. Carol is, I'm going to call Carol my Facebook friend because I see Carol a lot on Facebook. This is just a quick one, Carol. She's shooting with a Canon 600D. This is a very nice image. You've shot at a good time of day. It looks like it's heading towards dusk. There's no nasty shadows. There's some nice soft light coming through the clouds. But I would definitely have placed the horizon lower than what you have. The horizon here is kind of in the center. I would have placed that on the lower third line, and just so you can see more of the clouds, which look quite nice. But also, I kept in this windsurfer and maybe moved it to the left a little bit so I can see more of the windsurfer, which is quite a nice little touch. But apart from that, Carol, I think you've done well there. Thanks. And last one is from Chris. And he's shooting with a Canon 60D and the EOS 17-85 IS USM Canon lens. Chris, this is your photograph. This is from Richmond in Melbourne. The only thing I'd say is I would have walked into the middle of the road here and used the tram lines down the center of the image rather than kind of coming in from the right. You could have used these tram lines to kind of create some symmetry between the left and right hand sides of the road, and also the air balloon would have been directly above, which I think would have looked nice. But apart from that, the time of day is good. It looks like, I think you said it was 8 AM in the morning, which is quite nice. There's nice soft light, but maybe just work on the positioning a little bit. And I just noticed down the bottom here, you've got like a little bit of a car roof that's popping through. I probably would have cropped that out just because that's a tad distracting. But again, it is hard to shoot street scenes like this because there's so much going on, especially with all this traffic and so forth. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you so much for everybody who's been emailing me this week. Again, all you need to do is go to www.photocritictv.com, click on click to submit, and that's it. We'll catch you next time.